Hello everyone, welcome back to Kalico-K and our 6th stitch in our Easter 9 panel stitch. So it's a whole set. You don't have to do 9, you can do 1, you can do 3, you can do all of them, entirely up to you. So we're starting with the base of a cream yellow 3.5 inch felt square, and this stitch is going to be based on crosses. So I've picked out a few little bits and pieces here. My main cross is going to be this lovely satin ribbon. It's a really gorgeous rich colour, and I'm also going to use some of this lace, I think, somewhere. And I found this little brown ribbon, and I know it looks a little bit funky and it's got, you know, quite a happy little dotty pattern, but I'm going to use that pattern potentially to embroider on, and I think I'm probably going to run some of the lace along it, so it will be just an idea behind. So I quite like that idea, and I'm going to do 3 crosses because there was always 3 crosses on the hill. So there'll be a main cross, and then there'll be that cross, and the 3rd cross I'm just going to embroider. So to start with, I cut some lengths, and my main cross I'm going to piece like this, and I've got a little bit of this vintage cotton lace which I love. I really like this. If I find it on market stalls and things, I always grab it, and I'm just going to put that over the top of there. I did try it the other way round. I did it that way round and I wasn't as keen, so I'm going to do it that way round, I think. So to attach this, I'm going to use let me just pop a pin in there so it doesn't move. I'm going to use just a running stitch, a very easy running stitch, and I've chosen a really lovely rich brown embroidery thread, and then I'm going to use the pattern that's already in this lace and just do a very simple running stitch. So I'm running stitching along here, in and out, just using that pattern, and it just secures the lace in place. And then I'm going to come up here, and if you can hear an odd noise in the background, my dog's decided to give her feet a wash. She's a bit bored. She's been bringing toys over, and she'll have a lovely play when I finish this. So she's a bit disillusioned with the fact that I won't play with her at the moment. Before I stop that one, I'm just going to do a little slide stitch in here. I'm going to attach this. I think I'm going to use a running stitch sort of, but I think what I'm going to do is meander down and try and create a bit of wood pattern. Now, do I do that with stem stitch or running stitch? Maybe stem stitch. So stem stitch is a lovely stitch. It just sort of creates a little bit of texture, and it's a good attaching stitch. All of the embroidery stitches that I use in any of these videos, they're all going to be found in the embroidery tutorial playlists that we've got. And every time I get about well, 3 new stitches, or 3 or 4 new stitches, I pop them in a video tutorial set. So they're all done on hoops and they're very quick and just gives you an idea of stitches that you can use. Obviously, you know, you don't have to slavishly stick to the stitches that I'm using, but it just shows you how to do them if you want to. So this has just created a little bit of the wood grain. So I'm just going to come up the other side and do the same kind of thing. So with a stem stitch, you're coming down and you're making quite a big stitch, but you're only coming out halfway back, and then you come back down, you keep your thread on the same side, but you come in and go back to where you've just finished. So what you're doing is creating a long stitch, but you're doing half a stitch each time. It's difficult to see brown on brown, I appreciate that. So, and I'm not doing this in a straight line, which doesn't help matters. I'm wandering around on my wood, creating wood grain. I'm just tucking it underneath here. I'm going to come up just under there and then just finish up at the top here, and that has secured both sides of my main cross. But I'm going to add some little nails using a lighter coloured thread. I'm going to put some French knots in here just to represent some nails, and I thought I'm just going to put a couple of these into this cross. So again, there's a tutorial on this, and I'm also going to come in here and I'm going to do it on the lace, because I think it'll just give a bit of interest to that. I'm going to come across, I'm going to do both sides on the lace, the points. And I don't like doing a massive long stitch, so I'm just going to do a little half stitch across the back there, because I'm coming all the way across to the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, slide down. You just have to watch your tension when you're doing French knots. And then I'm going to do, let's just slide it back here. I think I'll do one, yeah, I'll do a couple coming down here. And I'll just do one part way down, and then that little cross is done. There we go. So there's our little French knots. So the second cross, I'm going to use, I cut a little diagonal at the bottom there because I'm actually going to angle this one, but I want the lace to go over the top of that. So let's put the cross on first. I'm going to put the cross piece on using a cross stitch. Now you won't be able to see it very well because I'm doing colour on colour, but I do a diagonal and then come straight up, and a diagonal and come straight up. If you've watched the Easter egg hunt square, you'll have seen me do this on one of the eggs. And another diagonal, and then I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to cross across. Sewing at this angle is quite a challenge at times. I have to kind of put my fingers in all different directions. I wouldn't normally do that if I'm sewing for me. Sit and sew on my lap, it's a completely different shape. And down there. And it's just held that in place. And then when that cross is finished, I don't know whether I actually want the lace on there, you know. Maybe I just put the lace on the bottom half. I don't know. Can't decide now. Quite liked it, but I don't know. No, maybe I will. No, I'm just going to put the lace on as I was going to. So I'm going to do the same thing with the lace, I think. And just cross stitch that on. So as you can see, I've just cross stitched down here, and I've also added 3 little French knots to the top of that one. I'm just going to trim that little bit of lace off. The third cross, I don't want to be a big cross. I just want it to sit somewhere here and just take it a little further back. So I'm going to just start around here, and all I'm going to do is chain stitch the cross. So coming up, looping my thread around, making my first chain, coming up, looping my thread and making my next chain, and I should just continue up just to create that straight line. And it just makes a nice simple cross. It'll give it a little bit of perspective because it's a smaller, less in your face affair. It should make it look like it's a bit further away. So you finish it off by just coming over, locking that stitch off, and then I'm just going to come up in the middle of that one and send one chain out in that direction, and then I'm going to lock that off, and I'm going to come back up in the middle and I'm going to send a chain out in the other direction, and that is going to be the third cross. So as you can see, this is quite a simple, understated little square, and that's our 6th square, so we've got 3 more to go. So I hope you enjoyed that one. It's a lovely little contemplative square and quite gentle, very muted palette and simple stitching, and I hope it's inspired you. So thank you for joining us, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.